rate the supers and rate the synergies. I just decided to do both because this game basically gives each character 2 super moves. Him 3, actually, which is very strange, but yes, we have the regular supers that you get in the game, which is kind of PlayStation All-Stars style, even though this game came out before PlayStation All-Stars, but it still has the cube build-up mechanic to get your super. And it also has the assist trophies in the game, the assist box, where sometimes you'll have a random chance of getting an extra super in the form of a synergy attack, where your player character teams up with one of the assist characters. Shout out to Somewhat Gaming Channel for this compilation. It just has everything in terms of supers, both the punch time explosions, which is what they call the super moves, which I think is actually a pretty dumb name, and the synergy attacks. Okay, here we go. Of course, Ben going ultimate because the whole gimmick of his latest series at the time of this game was the Ultimate Aliens. And it goes Ultimate Humongosaur, basically everyone's favorite ultimate, because big, strong, green man, it's Shrek. He might as well have just turned into Shrek. Anyways, this super just turned into Ultimate Humongosaur, fires a bunch of rockets. It's about what you expect. And utility-wise, it's not even all that good. It doesn't even look too good. They're supposed to be projectiles, but what ends up happening for this first bit of the attack is the explosions just create these little explosion areas where his fists are, and then finally he shoots a bunch of rockets up, and they come crashing down. Yeah, not all that useful. I feel like he could have done something a little better as Ultimate Humongosaur. The best option would be to actually transform into and control Ultimate Humongosaur. It's alright. I'd give it like a 6. Synergy. Oh, and we're getting right into his synergy too. Teaming up with Fredburger, who apparently was meant to be in Ben 10 as a cameo once, but that fell through. But we got Billy to cameo. Okay, nice jump cut. And yeah, that's all the team up is. It's Fredburger farting and Swampfire throwing fireballs at the fart clouds to create explosions. If they get caught in there, they're stunned and they're in the fart cloud. Perfect opportunity for you to throw in Swampfire's fireballs and create a big explosion. You're gonna be hearing me say explosion a lot in this video. This actually feels more like a reference to the games than it does the show. Because yes, while there was the one scene from the one episode,
don't shoot fireballs! This tunnel is full of methane!
What the fuck?
it's 6. I'm giving this one a 6 as well.
It's hero time!
And young Ben. He doesn't have ultimate, so what's the next best thing? Forearms. So actually, another bit of interesting trivia here is that all of the aliens that young Ben uses, they are the ones that were also used in the video game Ben 10 Protector of Earth. Minus Upchuck, who is a DS exclusive, but even then, you didn't really get to play as Upchuck. Yeah, it makes sense that of the 5, forearms, Heat Blast, Accelerate, Cannonbolt, and Wildvine, he'd use forearms for his super move. It's actually a bit of a reference to a deleted scene from Ben 10. It was a fight scene between Forearms and Vilgax in a dream sequence, and what Forearms ended up doing was he took the Rust Bucket, which was broken in half by Vilgax, and he crushed Vilgax using both pieces. This is not the same thing because, one, the Rust Bucket is not being used here. I get why you wouldn't have that because, admittedly, it wouldn't make sense if it was a Rust Bucket because, that's where Ben's living during this summer. So why would he use that as a weapon? But this is a fighting game. It's all fiction here. None of this is canon, so who cares if you make it the Rust Bucket or not? It would be better if it was the Rust Bucket here, because then that's just fan service. And then even then, he doesn't do the same thing that I described, where he took both halves and then, boom, clapped your ass with them. Instead, he just tears it in half and throws one piece to the left, one piece to the right. It's 5 out of 10. Alright. The synergy with Schnitzel, who was apparently supposed to be in as an extra bonus character in the XL version, an exclusive character, but this is one of the worst synergies in the entire game, because while it's cool, yeah, he gets to use forearms a little more, all he does as forms is pick Schnitzel up and throw him. And that's it. You don't even get to aim. You don't even get to wait. It's just pick up the box and automatically throw in whatever direction you were facing. So if your opponent was behind you, too bad. You're not going to be able to hit them. 3 out of 10. Alright, Vilgax. Oh, it's his disgusting, what is that, Xbox? His disgusting Xbox looking form. And yes, he turns into his true form that he got in the finale of Alien Force. And just goes all Mr. Game & Watch on your ass. And yeah, this is broken as hell because he's just floating around, flailing his tentacles, and there's not a damn thing your opponents can do about it. It's, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, here we go. Yep, that's how you team up with people. You just yell at them, scare them away, scare them shitless, and then use their shit to fight back. I guess that's how you can describe this. I love this one. This one is I'm gonna give this one a 9 as well. I was thinking a 10, but I don't really think it's 10 exactly because while it's funny that it's not exactly a team up, the whole point of Synergy is that, you know, it's supposed to be more of a team up, so it kind of loses itself a bit there, but even then, still love this. It's hilarious.
Dude, this is going to be cool.
Oh, it's my favorite one in the game. So you like Bowser's Final Smash and Brawl, where you get to play as Giga Bowser? This is basically the same as that, or this game's equivalent of that, where you get to play as Ultimate Kevin, which is my favorite mutated Kevin form. And yeah, he gets to use some of his moves from his actual boss fight in this game. He gets to use the Heat Blast or Swamp Fire, whichever alien's fireballs. He gets to use Swamp Fire's vines. He gets to use Diamond Head's Crystal Dome Smash thing. And they're all broken attacks that do a shit ton of damage and knockback. Yeah, I love this. Again, I wish that Ultimate Humongousaur was one that you got to control kind of like this, because this one did it right. This is a 10 out of 10. I love it. Synergy. And now to completely kill that with his Synergy. Yeah, this is a very shitty Synergy attack. Just this little vertical line. Kevin smashing rocks, and then number 4 is just floating in the air, breaking them as they fly up, and hopefully hit any opponents if, you know, they're above you. But yeah, it's this weird vertical attack that is very easy to dodge because of that. You're only really gonna land this if your opponent is really dumb, or if they were chasing you and right on your tail, as you just barely got this ahead of them. But he teams up with number 4, so I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10.
Oh man, here's a super attack coming right at you.
Yep, a reference to the Fire Breather episode. Pretty cool. Works as a super move for Chowder. Pretty basic, but, you know, effective. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Tag team.
Oh yeah, this one. Madam Foster just gets Chowder all fat and then weaponizes him. That is one ruthless old lady. I'd say it's about an 8, because, you know, it's overall pretty funny how Madam Foster's just riding Chowder like a log, and Chowder got all fat 'cause he ate all of her cookies. It works for the characters. It's funny. It's an 8. Attack! Oh yes, this attack is super broken because you get to freely fly around the entire stage, create these I don't even know what this is. I don't know why, but it makes me think of Soda Fizz or something. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be. You can freely fly around the entire map. Your opponents get completely stunned in these clouds. There's nothing they can do. They can't escape. They're just constantly taking damage. And then after he's done trapping you and leaving all this Soda Fizz or whatever it's supposed to be, he then shoots out a few rockets of soda soda bottles or hot sauce bottles, and then they create a violent explosion on every single cloud of whatever that was, soda fizz. The knockback on that is crazy, not to mention all the damage that your opponent would be taking in the clouds. Yeah, this is just overpowered garbage. I'm gonna say as a cool move, it's alright, but as an effective move, it's damn good. I'm gonna give it an 8. I think that's fair for it. An 8 out of 10.
Synergy.
And yeah, this is very similar. You get to freely fly around, same animation, but you're shooting out these gumballs or ping pong balls. You get to just be a moving projectile. Not really a projectile, but you're automatically firing freely, moving around the entire place. Nothing your opponents can really do to dodge. And then you just got Major Glory around here, flying. And if he hits the opponent, he does a lot of knockback. So really what you want to do is you want to just keep applying that pressure with the projectiles, racking up a ton of percent with them, and then hope Major Glory's AI is good enough to go over there and do a flying punch and knock your opponents away. It's alright. It's another strange way of doing the same kind of formula with his super attack. I'm gonna just give this 1 point less. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Well, now, here we go.
Oh yes, it's the punch time explosion. See, because it's just an explosion. That's it. That's literally it. It's the bare bones super. It works for him because he's all firepower, but it's still just a 5 out of 10. His super move though, or not a super move, his synergy move though. This is good. So he teams up with Fuzzy Lumpkins and turns your. So what he does normally is he turns your opponents into meat. He does the same thing here, except, you know, Father's here getting really... Okay, he didn't do anything, but he's also getting ready to do some grilling. So I'm pretty sure if you grab your opponents, he basically does this same animation here. So with the meat, he grabs them, throws them up, and then fries them. And that does a shit ton of knockback. Not to mention, your opponent is turned into meats. They can't do anything. They can't move. They can't jump. So if that ends up doing enough knockback to knock them off the stage, then there's no way that they're recovering. It's also very creative. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10.
This is gonna drain. Ah!
Moving on. Okay, I'll talk about it. Yes, he summons a giant toilet because what else would the Toiletator do? And it's shooting out all these whirlpools of toilet bowl water. And then Toiletator falls in and he can freely control his own little whirlpool and go anywhere he wants on the stage, freely moving. It's actually rather effective for as stupid of an idea as it is. His super gets a 7 out of 10.
Sometimes it takes two to tango.
Wow, quite the startup animation. Yeah, all this does is summon a bunch of their robots to just fire off some lasers. So it's basically just Vilgaxes, but with a way less interesting setup. It's just a 5, really. Because 1, it's a copy of another character's, and 2, it just doesn't have the same kind of fun factor as the original character's synergy had. So
This is gonna be
okay, all the Powerpuff Girls supers. You'll see that they all get to freely move around. And with Bubbles here, she just shoots a bunch of lasers. So yeah, projectile character at its best here. It's a 6 out of 10.
Talk about random.
Alright, this is actually pretty neat. So now you get to control Eduardo as Bubbles is on top, firing lasers, basically acting as an automatic turret, while you actually get to control Eduardo. You get to move around, you get to jump, you're invincible. He himself is just a walking hitbox. It's actually pretty effective. It makes for a cool kind of change of pace. So I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. I really like this one.
Eat my fist.
Alright, Buttercup. More free flying, except for her. She just has fire in front of her. And she's just a free moving hitbox. You can abuse the hell out of that. Chase your opponents all the way up the top, and they have nothing they can really do about that. It's not as interesting as Bubbles, so I'm just going to give this one a 5. Though again, it can still be pretty effective.
Talk about random.
This is basically the same as Young Ben's, right? Yeah, okay, it's the same as Young Ben, except, you know, with Young Ben, it's at least cooler with him because, you know, he's transforming into another alien that he doesn't really get to use in normal gameplay, aside from his super. With Buttercup here, it's just her normally picking up this superhero and throwing him because she can. This is worse. This one just gets a 2. This one's just lazy.
Ah, snap! Super attack!
Oh god, it's one of the most broken supers in the entire game. Yeah, this. There's nothing you can really do. You just get frozen 100 times. And, okay, let's take a look at this. So, before the super, the opponent has 227%. Let's see how much percent they get after the super. $417, almost 200% off of that one super. It's broken garbage. Her ice breath is broken as hell, and making her just have no cooldown on it, permanently shooting out ice breath, freely moving around. It makes for something way too overpowered. It's a 9 out of 10.
This duo is like peanut butter and fish.
Oh yeah, that's right. Gwen goes into her Anodite form for this, which is just this combo laser explosion thing. The best part is just Gwen going into her full Anodite form. Other than that, it's just kind of lame. I'll give it a 6.
It is time for chemical attacks.
Oh man, it's Big Monkey. Okay, just turns to Harambe here. Goes into a huge tantrum. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Tag team.
Oh, this one's actually really cool. So we got the Vrito brothers. Alright, whatever. But it's FPS, and the Vritos are freely shooting wherever they want. And you get to control your Mojo Jojo robot. I don't know why he's not firing. Dude, you can fire too. What are you doing? Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10. I just love it. I think it's the best FPS super that they have in the game, which I think all the FPS supers are in the form of assist supers.
This is going to be terribly beautiful.
Yeah, him actually has 2 different supers. Him has this one where he gets to freely control and just snip from above, which is alright. Like this one I just give about a 5. The other one is just a quick action of him growing giant, going up, and then automatically snipping from wherever you activated the super. And that one's exactly the same move that him did when him was an assist character in the 3DS version. And it's not really effective as a super. It's just a lamer version of the super that was just shown. So I'm going to just give it a 4. But now we get to the synergy. I forget what this one actually is. Oh, you freely fly around and have General Scar drop a bunch of nukes. Okay.
Feel good because it looked awful.
Alright, that's fun. You know, going all air raid on him. I was going to say an 8, but I think that's a little too much. So a 7. I think that's pretty good. A 7 out of 10. Oh, this one. This you're in for a treat with this one. He attacks you with ugliness. I think this is just a reference to the overall gross out moments that Flapjack would have, accompanied usually with that funny ha-ha scream sound effect. He wants some candy. He sees that it's an empty barrel. Then he gets all pissed and he breaks out of the barrel. And there's just this, yeah. It's 5 out of 10. Please get it out of my face.
Sometimes it takes two to tango.
Alright, 2 pirates teaming up. And there we go. I almost said Sticky Arm. Sticky Beard has armed Knuckles with all these cannons, and now you get to freely fire them. So yeah, pretty neat. This one, it's about a 7, I think. I don't think it's spectacular enough to get something higher than a 7, so I'm gonna keep it there. Okay, Flapjacks just has 8-Arm Willie coming, and yeah, Octopus Punch, because, you know, apparently Vilgax wasn't enough. It's still an effective super, overall acting kind of like a beam super of sorts. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I just thought that maybe Flapjacks would have, you know, a different character like Bubby. But, you know, Bubby's a stage, a very disgusting stage, so I guess they had to go with 8-Armed Willie.
2 for a team up.
This one they just dance, right? Yeah, they become this vortex. Not vortex, I guess a vortex. They make this little tornado by dancing together, and they can freely move around and just act as a walking hitbox. It doesn't really utilize anything unique with Flapjack or Dee Dee. It's just like, oh, let's have these 2 playful characters dance, yeah, and they use their dance as an attack, yeah. No, it's a 5 out of 10. All right, so we have another beam super here. With this, opens up a portal to the Netherrealm. Netherrealm opens up a Jesus Christ, I can't speak. Opens up a portal to NetherRealm Studios, and out comes all of the spirits that Mary Sue, Homeboy, Daddy's favorite Scorpion has killed. Yeah, overall, I mean, it's something you'd expect from Grimm. Whatever, it's a 7. And I think that the coolest part is that he also gets a giant green scythe.
Sometimes it takes two to tango.
Oh yes, this where he just poisons Mung Doll's food. Mung Doll's like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Put out the fire, put out the fire. But then, yeah, it's too late. Now Mung's stew is possessed. And it's now being weaponized by the Grim Reaper. It's also pretty overpowered, as you can see. 2 kills off of 1 action of the super. So it's an 8. An 8 out of 10.
Bring it on, baby cake.
Oh, this is a reference to the Chicken Ball Z episode, which obviously is a Dragon Ball Z parody. And yeah, they just fight each other. And now they're stuck in their Super Saiyan forms, where they do 1.5 times damage. So yeah, overall, actually a really cool super. And it also works well with the personalities of Billy and Mandy, how they're always kind of butting heads in the show. They're overall not really a great duo. But that means that when you have them as a duo, you can give them a super move where they just fight each other, and their opponents are just collateral damage. So I like this. I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10. Because, again, I think that the idea just works well. It's a great reference to a great episode. And, again, it gives them that buff afterwards. So, yeah.
Tag team.
Oh, yeah. Mandy just has to deal with Cheese and Billy screaming at the top of their lungs. And, yeah. Completely invincible. You just click the attack button to start screaming, and I'm gonna give this one an 8. I actually don't hate it. I think it's pretty neat.
Bet you never saw this coming.
Yeah, nice pun there, Haas. Nice pun there, Nolan North. And yeah, it's very similar to Bubbles Super, except one, you can't freely fly around, and two, I'm pretty sure his chainsaw projectiles are just stronger than Bubbles' lasers. So yeah, overall, kind of a weaker version of that movement-wise, but power-wise, it's stronger. So it makes me kind of confused how I'm gonna be rating this. I think I'll just give it the same score as Bubbles. What did I give Bubbles before? A 6? I'm pretty sure I gave Bubbles a 6. So I'm gonna do the same with Haas here. He gets a 6 out of 10.
2 for a team up.
Oh, we have another FPS super. Panini just rolls in, gives him some of her very dry heart cookies that she made in the second episode of Chowder. And yeah, Haas just decides to shoot them FPS style.
The opposite of what you want to happen there.
Yeah, it's super neat. It's a 9 out of 10. 1, it's very reminiscent of Snake in Brawl. And 2, it's just super fun that, you know, you get a super that changes the gameplay from a platform fighter into a first-person shooter. It's just super neat. It's a 10 out of 10. Not a 10 out of 10. What did I say? A 9 out of 10. Because, again, I said that Mojo Jojo's was a 10 out of 10 because you also had the assistance of the Real Brothers.
Prepare to meet your
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird super for the Scotsman. You know, he just plays his bagpipes and they're super obnoxious. So your opponent gets stunned by that. And if they're close enough to him, they'll end up being hit by his wife as she comes crashing down because, you know, she's very big, very large. Just don't say that to her face. Otherwise, she'll get very pissed. I guess it works because it is a reference to the episode where Scotsman returned and he and Jack went to go rescue his wife. But overall, as a super move, it's just really weird. I think I'm just going to give it a 4. It just really doesn't do anything for me. I'm not sure what else you'd really do for the Scotsman, but yeah, this one.
2 for a team up.
This is the last of the FPS supers, I think. But this one's a little different, so you're automatically firing.
Or even have that happen.
That could be good in some instances and less effective in others. But overall, it's good. I like it. I'm going to give it the same score as Haas's. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Here's a super attack coming right at you.
Alright, Dexter basically just has giant laser. Okay, yeah, it's a 7.
Sometimes it takes 2 to tango.
And then this one's really weird. So he teams up with Gazpacho. Gazpacho's here throwing out pickles. And Dexter just shoots them. And yeah, now they explode. Now you get pickle explosions. I'm Pickle Explosion! I'll give it the same score, a 7 out of 10. It's weird, but overall pretty effective. And, you know, kind of neat.
Super attack.
Alright, Monkey. This is basically just Buttercups because he just freely flies around and he's just, yeah, a permanent hitbox. Except it doesn't look like he lasts for too long. Hang on. Yeah, that was less than 10 seconds. So yeah, I don't know. I'd give this one, what did I give Buttercups? A 5? I think I'd give that about the same score. So, a 5 out of 10.
Synergy.
Okay, we get more teaming up with number 2. And yeah, instead of number 2 just going from left to right and then right to left, he's just stuck here in this little path that Monkey kind of fucks him over into going in. It's just a less effective version of the regular assist attack that number 2 does, in my opinion. So it's still at least kind of interesting. Yeah, I think 7 out of 10 works for that.
Yep, you're in danger now.
Oh yes, this one. Just goes all metallic on your ass. And yeah, there's nothing you can do. You're just stuck in for the ride. You're stuck in there, gaining a shit ton of %, and then you go flying. I'll give it an 8 because, you know, if you keep using this super a lot, it can get kind of annoying because, you know, you can't skip it. It's super long.
Talk about random.
Oh, this one's actually pretty neat. So, while most of the other, most of everything else in this moveset is just blue, we finally get something that utilizes Mac. So, Mac, he gets Sugar High very quickly. So, you just team up with Peppermint and Larry, give Mac a shit ton of sugar, and he becomes completely invincible, and just by touching your opponent, you deal damage. Pretty neat. I'll give this one an 8.
There is no escape.
Alright, Jamurai Sack. Does a very quick dash, followed by a bunch of other speedy slices. He also becomes this form, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to the one episode where Aku was telling fairy tales to a bunch of children, and they made up their own fairy tale about Samurai Jack, and he looked just like this. And just like Billy and Mandy with their super, Jack, after using that super, stays in this form, and he does 1.5 times damage with all of his attacks. So, it's also pretty good because of that upgrade. Though I think that the attack is just kind of, eh. So I'm just going to give this an 8. Yes, you're showing off the 1.5 times damage. Alright, the synergy with Van Halen. It's super easy to dodge because it's just a one and done attack. Lightning strikes down and Jack punches it, creating this little lightning spread effect. There's a little bit of time before the attack actually happens, so your opponents can just run away. I'm going to give this 5 out of 10.
Accursed meddlers!
Yes, Aku goes into his dragon form and just blows fire everywhere. Yeah, it's alright. He doesn't really do much as a dragon. He just stays in place and breathes fire a little bit. So, yeah, just a 6.
This is a total odd couple.
Okay, that's pretty neat. Jack and Samurai Jack. Jack and Aku both team up with Van Halen. And, okay, Aku at least does something a lot cooler. He shapeshifts into a guitar for Van Halen to use, and he creates this, dark, evil lightning effect. It has some pretty strong damage and knockback. It has a similar problem to Young Ben's and Buttercup's, where it just automatically does an attack in the direction that you're facing once you picked up the assist box. So if your opponent is behind you, this is going to do nothing. Again, this is one that's mostly carried by the animation and the effects, but the attack part is a little lackluster. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10.
Drive me wild. Hey, baby.
Alright, this super. The animation, the startup animation had nothing to do with the actual super move. He's just there posing for the ladies and then proceeds to do nothing with this. Instead, he just does a bunch of really fast dashing punches. And all these cubes are just given to your opponent. So, yeah, that makes them even closer to their super move. So that's a bit of a downside to this. The move itself is very bland and uninspired. This one's a 3, honestly. This one's very lame.
This duo is like peanut butter and fish.
But this, though, this is good. He teams up with Dracula. They're dancing together. And they get a crowd of ladies. And yeah, Johnny Bravo's style. He's just fighting with his style here. I'm going to give this one a 9. It's a much better super move for Johnny Bravo. So I give this one a 9 out of 10.
Time to recycle these eco-villains.
Alright, Captain Planet just creates 2 tornadoes and then ends with a giant heart explosion. It's an interesting way of trying to use all 4 of the powers. Like, alright, let's have one vortex be made of water and wind, and then the other one fire and earth, and then they come together, and then boom, an explosion of heart. But even then, I feel like this is overall a kind of boring move, and it has a bit of a lengthy startup. Yeah, this is one that I'm gonna just give a 5, honestly. It's not that great.
2 for a team up.
I forgot, he also teams up with Dracula. Except here you can aim these heart beams that he makes as he's dancing. I guess this was their only way of finding out how to use heart. It is still cool because, you know, he's teaming up with Dracula. He's dancing. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to give it is a 6 out of 10. The supers in here were alright. Some of them were really cool. Some like Mojo Jojo's and all the other FPS synergy attacks. I really liked Billy and Mandy's super. And of course, the Ben 10 guy is going to love Kevin's super, where you get to just control Ultimate Kevin. Again, though, it was still very neat to see both the typical supers and the team-up supers.